this is the program that we had last video. As you can see, I made a couple changes to my Quincy. So basically I went to tools, options, and changed the size of the text and bolded it out so that it could be more visible in the video, because from the feedback I got, some of the mobile users who watched the video on mobile were not able to see the text properly, so I made it bigger and bold so that it would be easier to notice. Alright, so what we'll be doing today is we'll be putting all of this into individual functions that have their own functions. So basically what a function is it's a program that has a single purpose. For example, let's say I want to get this, the user input for number 1, I will get it here. So it will be car. You have to put it as character because you have to return a character value. Character get number 1 brackets, and basically what you want to do is you want to put this in there. So what I do is I'll copy paste it. Okay, here, copy paste it. But you can see that if I try to compile, I'll get mistakes. For example, number 1 is undeclared in this function. So in this function, what I'll have to do is either pass this into the function as a variable or declare a local variable. So int number 1 there. I like to leave spaces between different blocks of my code. Return number 1. Okay, so this is what you do. Also we have to do the flush. I don't know if usually within let's test it out. Okay, let's see if it's in a function. The buffer will still get clogged with multiple inputs. Alright, so I have this. So how I call the function within the code is number 1 equals to get number 1 bracket semicolon. There you have it. See, if you compile it, compiles perfectly. If you run it, so we're doing addition. Okay, 3 plus 2, 5. Perfect. You see, it perfectly got the first number, even though there's no more printf and scanf statements within our main. That function does its job properly, which is to get number 1. So I'll just copy this, okay, and name it get number 2. Declare local variable number 2, assign value to number 2, and return number 2. So let's go, and here for number 2 we just change all that. And we do number 2 equals to get number 2 bracket semicolon. Now let's try it again. Successful build, runtime, 3 plus 2 equals to 5. Perfect, the numbers are obtained. Now for the operation. Now for the operation is a little different because we're not getting. Oh, I made a mistake. This is wrong. This is an integer. This is also an integer. It returns an integer value. Hence, there we go. We have integers. Yeah, that was a silly mistake on my part. So for the operation, you have to do character because it's a symbol. Operation. Wait, let's see. Car get operation. There. Okay, then we can again just copy paste this. There. Backspace. Car operation. Then you return it. Return operation. There. And then we have to come here and change it, which will be operation equals to get operation. There. We have our three basic functions to get the user input. Now let's see if it runs. Compiles fine. Now run. First number 2, enter. Oh. So we do need the f flush to flush the buffer because apparently it still doesn't work properly. F flush, std in, semicolon, f flush, std in, semicolon, f flush, std in, semicolon. There we go. You put it after each input by the user, it has to be flushed again. So here, 2, plus 3, 5. Alright, so we have our first three functions, which are basic functions that only ask the user for an input. Now what we're going to do is we're also going to put our operations, our addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, into functions, individual functions that each have only one job. They will all have only one work, which will be to carry out one task, whether it be addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Each function only does one thing. So here, let's do it. Int addition. See, I left the variable blank, but we all know that if you want to add, you need two numbers. So int number 1, int number 2. There. And then like I could do it this way. Int result equals to num1 plus num2, and then return num2 return result. There. Oh, and here, sorry, it's a comma, not a full stop. So you see, I could do it this way and it would work. But if you want to do the shorter way and have just one line in here, what you can do is return num1 plus num2. So what it will do is it will directly carry out the calculation and return it at the same time. So now, how you obtain this value back in your main function? It's through assigning it to a variable. So result equals to addition number 1, comma, number 2. When you are just passing variables, you don't need to put any identifiers in front. It's just the name of the variable. But when you're declaring the function, you need to put an identifier in front of the variable name so that you know what type, so that the computer knows what type of variable you're passing in. All right. So you have this, and then we of course need to print out the results. Let's put the printing of the results also in a function. All right. So because printing will not return anything, so what you do is you create a void function. A void function would be a function that does not expect to return any values back to the main program. So basically it runs the function and that's it. It will not do anything. So in there you pass int result. Alright, so here, there. Now we need to call that function in the main program. So it will be print results, bracket, result. There, this should be fine. Let's see. Successful build. Run. First number 2 plus 3. Answer is 5. Alright, so it works perfectly fine. Our addition function works fine. Now, do you know why I did this? This is text that has been commented out. It's all in green, which means the system will not run it while we're running it. So, like this. See, the program runs, but everything else is avoided. So if I say 2 divided by 3, it still gives me 5 because right now we only have addition. And this section of the code has been commented out, so none of the other operations will happen. Alright, so before we do anything else, let's type this. Result equals to subtraction number 1, number 2. Oh, I keep putting full stops. number 2, bracket, semicolon, print results, result. All right. So now we have this, but if you compile it, you'll see this subtraction is undefined, means it has not been declared before. The reason why is because we have obviously not created a subtraction function yet. So we'll just copy the addition function, change the name it subtraction. Now return num1 minus num2. So you build it, and now it builds perfectly. Run it. 2, 3. Oh, wait. So Control C to end the program before it finishes. If you just want to end it, or it bugged and you can't actually terminate the program, so you just press Control C. All right, so we're going to run it again. So it's 3 any operation, because we don't have a statement to choose between operations yet. 3. So you have one answer 6 and the other answer is 0, which is fine because 3 minus 3 is 0, 3 plus 3 is 6. So as you see, our subtraction is working fine. Alright, so now we have to do the same for multiplication. Number 1, number 2, semicolon, print results, result. There we go. And then I'll copy this again, name it multiplication, return number 1 multiplied by number 2. Alright, so we'll compile, successful build, run it. So okay, 2 plus 2. So first answer is 4, 2 plus 2 is 4, 2 minus 2 is 0, 2 multiplied by 2 is 4. Now let's try again with 2 different numbers. Okay, 2, 3, there. 2 plus 3 is 5, 2 minus 3 is minus 1, and 2 multiplied by 3 is 6. Correct, so all our operations are working perfectly now. Now we have to go for division. As you can remember, if you can remember, as you can see down here, division is a little different. You first have to change the variable. You have to cast the variable from integer to float to be able to contain the decimal points. Hence, our function is going to be a little different. So it's not going to be an integer function. It's going to be a float function named division. Of course, you pass num1 and num2 as usual. You go down, you go up, and then return float num1 divided by float num2. Now don't be like me and leave a lot of mistakes. So int here. So technically this should work. Float returns a float. Sure, that should be fine. So see here, division, number 1, number 2. Now for the printing, we're gonna run into an issue because as you can see, the only variable I pass in print results is an integer named result. So if I pass an integer, when I print it out, it's only going to be an integer. That means there will be no decimal places, which is not ideal for division. Hence, we're going to make another one, print div results float result. Okay. And then you have to, of course, do the printf stuff. So it's this. Instead of div result, it's result. There, this should be fine. So now I need to use it. Print div results into result. Oh, this is wrong as well. the float, our float is called div result. See, we have a special variable to store the division results. Now let's see how it works. Okay, successful build, so that's good so far. Now you run it. Okay, so 5 plus 2. So 5 plus 2 is 7, 5 minus 2 is 3. 5 multiplied by 2 is 10, and 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. Perfect. Up to 2 decimal places, it's perfect. Our code is working fine. So now you press enter to go back to the screen. So since we have all the operations already, we do not need this anymore. So I'll just delete it. You can keep it commented because it's good, or you can save this one as a whole new file. So basically we have all this now. We have a lot of functions and we have a main menu, but we have no way to choose an operation. So this is where I'll introduce you to a new statement. Last video we learned about if-else. If-else is good, but it can get quite lengthy. Whereas you have this switch, and when you put switch in the brackets next to the switch, you have to put a condition. For example, which character we're going to be observing. Okay, so I put this in the wrong location. Okay, so I need to put it here. So switch. So in order to select an operation, we observe the operation variable. So operation. All right. And I'll put the bracket down here. Yeah. So now how it works is you have to go by cases. So case, in case the operation variable is equal to the plus symbol, carry out these results. And then after that you type break. What break does is it will exit the loop to prevent all the other cases from running. So this is for addition. Now for subtraction, case hyphen. Okay, so it invokes subtraction, it calls subtraction, and then you break the loop. All right, so here you have it again. This time it's for multiplication, so x and break. If you remember from the previous program, we had two cases for x because x can either be input as small letter x or capital letter X. So we're just gonna copy paste this and replace this by capital letter X. So we have both considered in our case statement. And of course, the last statement is case / break. Alright, so basically what will happen with this code is it will go this way. It will check the value of operation and compare it to each case. So example, if let's say case is a /, if operation is a /, case plus will not run because operation is not a plus sign. Case minus is not going to run because operation is not a minus sign. Both X cases will be excluded as well, will be skipped over as well because operation is a /, therefore it will directly jump to here and run the division. So it works in the same way as an if-else statement, except that you have less to write and you don't have to write the comparison statements manually. For example, if you remember, let's say I wanted to do the addition, if bracket operation equals to plus sign. I would have to write the condition this way, which is quite lengthy. Whereas with the case, we shorten it to this, if x. So I think it is a very useful selector method to use. See, switch operation. Okay, and now let's see if it works. So successful build, correct. Run it. Okay, first number 2 plus 2, 4, correct. Now let's run it again. Now 3 divided by 2. 1.5. Correct. Now 3 multiplied by 2. 6. Okay. Now the last one, subtraction. 3 subtract 5 minus 2. Perfect. Our code is now running exactly the way it did in the previous video, except that you see our main function looks a little cleaner. Of course, you could remove all the comments, but I like to leave the comments. It's good practice to leave comments, because so if other people want to use your code or want to copy your code, want to read your code, they will be able to know what does what. So here I will put a comment, case statement to select operation and return value, and return and print value. There. Simple comments that will help somebody, understand what your code is doing. Alright, so since we already have it, I'll save it and I'll call it a day for now. I'll be waiting for you in the next video. Thank you guys for watching. Have a nice day.